Let's talk about things that we think we are good steps forward.
The reason I brought up the other thing was about the people. Like, I've had a number of people that have said to me specifically, they've been like, I'm not sure we can be friends because I don't think you'll like me because of my life or whatever, because of where I live or the job I have. And I just, like, I don't think that's, I apologize. I don't know. I was just the amount of people who I think will listen to some amount of this and be like, well, I can never talk to Pat again, has become more and more conscientious to me. And it's like,
because they work for like a pharmaceutical company or something,
or what's the Raytheon. Thank you. Yeah,
defense contractors.
So and I just want them to know if that's where they work. Like, I understand. Like, we all got to do a job for a living, and like, whatever.
But you do have to do something to make up for the money you're making.
Yeah.
No, I actually think if you work for Raytheon, you should kill yourself.
Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah. No,
I have no sympathy for you whatsoever.
I think you could either kill yourself or just stop working there and stop helping.
Yeah, I don't know why they have to work there.
Yeah,
or maybe like subvert some things. You know, just cross a couple of Ys,
break some shit.
It's kind of like
Steal
the amount of people
steal shit and quit.
Yeah.
The amount of people that get geology degrees to become petrogeologists, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there's that kind of shit, too, where it's like, you could use that degree to help the planet instead of get really fucking rich. It's kind of like how some comedians just want to make people laugh and other people want to just heckle audience members and get really large TikTok followings. And still make an insane amount of money.
Listen, there's a balance there.
We'll find it someday.
Some audiences deserve it.
And my point was just that our if you're listening to our show and also angry about these things, odds are we're not mad at you. I just wanted to clear that up.
I'm probably mad at you, but I'm mad at most everyone all the time.
Fair.
So that's not anything new.
Yeah, my mom's best friend's middle daughter, I won't say any names here, but she's
dead to me.
She's going to school for engineering, like through Stanford or UC, one of those, California college.
A school.
A big one.
Yeah, and so she's getting her internship at Raytheon. So she's not even getting paid to work there.
Oh, boy. I understand it sucks to, like, have principles, but you could just try.
Well, it's always... Two side notes. The main reason I brought that up is I consider, like, there's this lady that went to the church I went to as a kid who's always agreeing with us with stuff, and like, I'm kind of scared you guys don't like us. I'm like, no, Linda, we love you. You're fine. You're not.
Actions.
Yeah, you do great things.
Actions.
You help at the soup kitchen, shit like that. The other thing is the part where it's like, I didn't have a lot of opportunities, so my principles didn't really matter, right? Like, the handful of times it's mattered, it's been like, all right, cool, I'll remember this for the rest of my life, but I'll remember all the times I failed. But when you're like at a level where Raytheon is offering you an internship, there's other internships probably being offered around. Like, probably, like, you know, at the very least, like, you can probably get the better position at a Chuck E. Cheese than I could ever get. That's... You can start off manager, and they give you, like, days off with that shit.
Yeah.
There's, like...
You might get healthcare.
There's, like, alternative energy companies that need engineers. There's all kinds of things that need to be engineered that aren't fucking bombs.
There are.
You could become a preschool teacher. Jesus fucking Christ.
There are nonprofits that are vampiric in how they operate, but I feel like if you weigh everything side by side, I'd rather work for a shitty nonprofit than fucking Raytheon? Are you kidding me? Jesus.
I think even, like, as fucked up as my life is, if they came to me and was like, hey, man, we'll give you a job where it's like $1 million, you show up for an hour a week, I'd probably still say no and or not work, like, not show up to work that 1 hour. I don't know which would be morally better, but, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know the circumstance of, like, the ratio of, like, what you could offer me that I would be comfortable with that.
Right. Well, and this is why, like, I know we use it as kind of like a throwaway joke whenever we do something questionable, which is like, there's
I
no
just showed how stoned I was.
There's no ethical consumption.
there's no ethical consumption, but like there's levels to that.
Totally.
And it shouldn't be used to be like, oh, well, I don't have to examine any of my choices. But it can be like, great, I don't need to shame myself, but I can definitely always try to do better.
Right. You gotta just, as long as it's on your mind, you're thinking about it.
It's
And
one of
on
those,
that note,
it's one of those phrases people use when it's like one of those thought canceling cliches where they're
like
if
bootstraps.
I say, if I say this, then I've fixed it or made it better.
But on that note, I think it would be a good idea for each of us to maybe like talk about something that like we think that we maybe can do collectively to help, or what we know, like, or what we would like to do. Like one thing that you know you can do, and maybe one thing that you would like to do in response to this, and so that people can start thinking about ways that we can address this situation outside of voting, because clearly it doesn't fucking work.
Well, yeah. You gotta fucking get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's a good jumping off point.
And so, like, in your experience, what are things that you've had to become comfortable with that you were originally uncomfortable with?
For me, I've been uncomfortable with a lot of things for a really long time.
Violence,
but just like talking to people, looking people in the eye. No, I guess it's tough to answer.
I have an answer then.
Yeah, so I would say, fucking, your job is just a job. This goes with what we were just saying. It's like, maybe you don't have to work for Raytheon. Maybe you don't have to work for the corporation that's going to really give a shit about what you post on social media. But maybe you shouldn't be posting so much on social media, not because it might get you fired, but because it might get like a knock on your door from the FBI. Like, you just gotta maybe start to consider that you're not the main character in the fucking universe. And that might be scary at first, but it's, I think, a lot less scary than having the demons running amok in your life. So as far as concrete examples go, I mean, we've talked about this before. I really like cooking food for homeless people, but shockingly, there are a lot of people who really hate that. Not a popular thing to say that you hate feeding homeless people. It's actually like, if I mention it to the people who I would say are like the worst, they're like, yeah, I cook food for homeless people. They're like, oh, they feel compelled to be like, oh, that's good. Because they would really seem like fucking assholes if they were against that. But a lot of people are against that.
But if you don't tell them that you make food for homeless people, at some point you will hear about all these freeloaders or people who need to just kind of disappear.
Oh yeah, no, it's a great way for me to shut those fucking people up, is when they're going off about like, oh, they don't throw away their trash. And I'm like, yeah, well, you know, we try to find the best biodegradable solutions for how we provide for them.
Yeah.
And it's also like they don't have like addresses, so they don't get,
they don't get garbage
pickup service.
There aren't a lot of public garbages in a lot of places.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is a little more esoteric in that it's like social discomfort that I want people to maybe try and get more comfortable with. Less so awkward conversations and more just like doing a thing that you think like no one's gonna fucking give you praise for. Like,
yeah.
Just do something helpful.
Yeah.
It's way better than mine, because mine was just going to be like, you have to get comfortable with the fact that like some amount of violence will have to happen for solutions to happen. And like, not in that like I want violence, but in that like sometimes Nazis need to be punched. And like, I say that as a person who thinks that all solutions can be talked out and thought their way through.
Whatever, Steven Universe.
But very well aware that like there's a bunch of people who, again, don't think that way and will throw punches for me. And so it's like, I've grown comfortable with the fact that it's like, well, I don't need to be the person that punches Nazis, but I shouldn't stop anyone from punching Nazis, proverbially, or in Minecraft, or however we need to word this. But it's
no. That's
like,
yeah, and that I think that can tack into the obsession with decorum and civility.
Tone policing. Sorry, I think this is a perfect thing to talk about that. So, one thing that I will end up experiencing is like, one time I brought up fucking Palestine, and someone's like, I just don't think we should talk about that right now. I'm like, then when do we talk about it?
Well,
and I was literally
afterwards.
talking about something I was excited about, because I saw that like at a soccer match, this was pretty early on, like there was a soccer match where people all had their Palestinian flags and were saying like the from the river to the sea, and I was just so excited about that. And then the person who was kind of keyed into the conversation was like, oh, can we take a break from that right now? And it's like, and to feed off of what you're saying, like it shouldn't just be talking, right? It shouldn't just be talking.
Actions.
It needs to also be actions. And I think then you have to figure out, okay, well, if I am done talking about it, what am I going to do about it?
And
I'm not sorry. I just want to say I'm not telling people to go out and just randomly punch people. I'm just saying like there you have to get used to the fact that like the civil.
Be prepared for a conflict, maybe in communication, especially like if someone's saying out of pocket shit. Like you were talking about in your workplace where your coworker was making shitty racist jokes and someone's like, that's fucked up. You shouldn't say that. We need to, like, everyone's talking about, no, we need to wear the safety pins. No, we need to wear the blue thing. We need to do this to let people know they're safe. It's like, no, make sure the people who are unsafe know that you're not safe around, like, they're not safe around you. Like, let them know that being a white supremacist and being a misogynist and being fucking violent towards marginalized communities is not okay.
Yeah, this is a core tenet of anti-fascism, is not only not platforming fascist viewpoints, but also actively making it untenable to hold those views publicly. And it's not about converting people into being better, having the goodest thoughts. It's about making it so that holding those views publicly is so uncomfortable that they cannot express them. And then this gets twisted into a debate about free speech.
We just can't say what we want to say anymore.
Yeah, no, you fucking can't. You fucking piece of shit. You shouldn't be able to say that you want to deport all brown people or whatever. You shouldn't be able to say that you think that every rape victim should give birth to the baby that is a result of that rape. You shouldn't be able to comfortably express those viewpoints. It's not a matter of legality. It's a matter.
Sorry, but it's like that is a violence,
that is violence
in and of itself.
Yeah,
it's already, that was the transition I had to figure out, was like, oh, that is violent actually, because like it's not against me, but the moment
credit scores are violence.
So yeah,
like
fuck FICO. The interaction.
Sorry.
FICO.
I was just thinking like that.
What's your FICO score?
The violence inherent in our state.
FICO.
Oh my God, we have like a dolly, and the brand for it was pro-lift. But every time I saw it, it kept saying pro-life, and I'm like, why the fuck do we have this at our health center? What the fuck? But so, and on the topic though of violence, I think one of the things is that some people's response to that is, great, now I need to get good at being violent. And that doesn't have to be what that means.
Get good at first aid. If
exactly.
That's your instinct.
And like, for example, if you can't be the one to yell at that fucking Nazi that's saying the dumb shit, you can be the one to check in with the people afterwards and help them out. Like your therapist who's been having to reschedule because of election bullshit. That he is doing the work of undoing the like psychic violence that a lot of people are experiencing right now.
Yeah, and courage is contagious. So you might not be the one to throw that punch, but if you see someone standing up to hatred, you can know that backing them up, instead of just turning away and pretending you're not seeing it, backing them up, not only is it the right thing to do, but you will have backup, because a lot of other people know that bigotry and that hatred that's being responded to is fucking wrong. They know that. So
They're just waiting for someone else to do that.
and if you happen to be in the position where someone is willing to fucking put their fucking flesh on the line to prove that, you back that person up because you're going to have backup in that situation. But if you don't stand up to help that person might be alone. But if you show that bravery, if you show that courage,
Yeah.
you don't have to be the one throwing the fucking punch. You don't have to. I mean, in a perfect world, we'd all be throwing the fucking punch. But
Yeah.
the perfect world, there would not be a punch to throw.
But it's also like I'm well aware of like if I throw a first punch, that's also me getting the next 3 punches because I'm not good at punching. But like punching verbally works too. Like I remember, I can't think of the number of fights or conflicts I've broken up or seen just based on the fact that like, hey, I'm gonna say the loudest, dumbest thing because that will at least make you stop doing this thing at each other.
Yeah.
And then somebody else smarter than me can figure it out.
I cannot give, for legal reasons, I cannot give specific examples, but there have been situations where what I've just said has played out, and it's always humbling and amazing to me how people, if there's just like someone who can just get everyone together, people will do the right thing. If there's someone who's willing to take upon them the risk or the perceived risk of some kind of harm to their comfort and their normal, people will fucking do the thing that they're supposed to do. And when you have numbers, you have strength in those situations.
So what you're saying is the left needs a Joe Rogan.
Are we not that?
Oh shit!
yet?
Oh fuck!
Damn
Oh,
it!
Damn it!
Fuck!
Yeah, who's the left's Jordan Peterson then?
Oh, is that me? Is that me?
Hassan.
Was it my outfit?
Honestly, that is a pretty
Hassan.
loud jacket.
Yeah, this jacket does say I only eat meat.
I have like conflicting feelings about Hassan Piker.
I mean, yeah, his eyes are beautiful. But
No, yeah. First off, he's too handsome. Like that's the first thing we need to address. That man is too fucking hot. And I do think also that like sometimes the way he interacts with the people on his stream is perpetuating a level of like just shitty dudery
yeah.
that I don't find helpful.
But that's
and
also what draws people to him is that
I
he's like
can't watch
a bro
Twitch streams.
who's a leftist.
That's really all I've learned out of all
They're
of this
too
stuff.
long.
Twitch, I can't fucking do
There's-
it. You're a
it's
Twitch
too
nugget.
much content.
It's second screen content. It's for this generation of. You hear that? Is that me?
Yeah, there's music going on.
Oh, okay. It's this generation of younger people who play video games and watch a Twitch stream on the side.
Yeah,
You know, they're
yeah.
not fully paying attention all the time.
Was that what I need to do to get my chores done?
I mean, maybe.
Honestly,
I do
having
it
shit
well.
on the background does help me do shit. I put YouTube video essays on though.
It's talk radio for this generation.
Yeah, no, and talk radio was always what, and
It was-
still
it
to some extent, gets me through fucking.
I like podcasts.
stuff.
And
more.
talk radio, never a problematic Imus in the morning, never done
No.
anything wrong.
I
Yeah.
used to stereotype. The morning radio shock jocks like douchey and rapey in the morning.
Yeah,
We're gonna talk about how being poor is your fault and also boobs.
but like,
Oh, chat.
sorry, I wanted to circle back to what we're actually
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about.
The point?
I think that, and I don't think enough people learned that, like, came to terms with this in 2016, is that we are going to have to continue to build and work outside of the system.
Yeah,
Like, and I think that, and so you were talking about the importance of courage. I wanted to talk about the importance of curiosity, because when you are working outside of the system, you can't just assume you know how to do it.
yeah.
You have to be curious, which means you also have to find out what other people are doing.
Gotta fucking check your ego.
Yeah, and you can't have this, we're gonna underground railroad it without realizing there's absolutely that shit that's already happening in all over the world, let alone this country.
Yeah.
So focus on helping what's already there instead of white lady with a sloshing wine glass going, I'm helping, and really just like telescoping every move you make and endangering you and other people around you.
Telescoping or telegraphing?
Telegraphing.
Okay.
Close enough.
I think telescoping
I'm
is
infectious.
something we should use going forward.
Telegramming?
Here's the thing I used
Teleporting?
telescoping to describe when I was in therapy, which is like kaleidoscoping is when like you're seeing everything all fractured and weird and dumb because you can't focus. And it's not that you don't have the abilities, but telescoping is when you take all that and it is actually focused and you can see like a long term. I use that vernacular in therapy. So I was like, that does work for
So yeah,
me.
telegraphing makes more sense. Because like that's the thing is when you decide to work outside of the
I didn't
system.
mean to make things confusing, but I was like, oh shit, I use that.
No, that's good.
But when you try to work outside the system, and especially in a way that the system is not going to appreciate, you're going to have to work a lot smarter and you're going to have to work a lot safer. And I think a lot of people who haven't been in danger just yet don't understand what the danger level is. Would that be a fair thing to discuss?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, I'm worried I'm like off base, but like
No,
that's
not
kind
at
of the vibe I get from what I've heard from activists and people who work
like,
in
well,
activist
You were
spaces.
mentioning curiosity.
Being, and I think that's like I have a C word to build off on that, but like I think
Cunt.
well, no, it was going to be compassion, but we can get to that in its own minute.
They're being cunt.
Yes, but like I think it's important more than anything else
Stop
to
that.
ask people how you can help more than just assume you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And don't blanket statement tell people, hey, make sure you ask for help. It's really fucking hard to ask for help. And especially when your help is really fucking big.
Yeah, like we're gonna have to talk about what I'll need when I get surgery at some point in life, and it's like I'll need to have like 6 months of life just off at some point to
They're
like
cutting off one of Pat's butt cheeks.
yeah, and they're gonna implant it into my head so I can be a full butt head. But no, like why are we like this?
Finally.
But my point is
Because
like
it's funnier to think you only have one butt cheek.
my point is just that like it is scary
How
and
do you sit?
difficult to like this.
Are you on the butt cheek side, or are you really torturing yourself
I'm
and on the
torturing-
non-butt cheek
Oh,
side?
you know me, I'm a masochist.
No one's gonna know more about the My Pillow guy than Pat.
Yeah.
When he has his butt cheek removed, he's gonna be the definitive voice about pillow situations.
I'm sorry, Pat, but yeah,
But,
like
asking for help is difficult, and even like I beg for help all of the time, but it's with the assumption that like it's easier when I assume nobody will help. It's much more terrifying when I think anybody will give a damn. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because then there's the expectation that it might get better, and I have to be like, oh no, sorry, this is eternal.
a friend of mine from Missoula got hit in a fucking hit and run, like collapsed. Multiple surgeries, is probably going to be permanently disabled. He said, yeah, I'm sorry about telling you about my story. I know it's a huge bummer. I was like, no, you need.
Well, because we do
And
that
I
to
was
people.
like, there is no shame in talking about the fact that this shit happened and you still need help, because he was feeling bad that it's been 6 months and he still needs help.
Yeah, you're 100% correct, and I can also totally see where he's coming from.
No, I was like, I understand why you feel that shame, but I'm here to tell you there is no fucking shame in that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it just broke my fucking
I don't want
heart.
to fucking bother people with my problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I just figure I am the problem. I'm T-Sway.
I would-
T-Swizzle, more like T-Fizzle. That's my joke.
I would add, unless you wanted to, I was going to add the list of C words with compassion. We talk about cock and cunt afterwards. Those are for Recyclables After Hours.
Oh.
Recyclables After Hours coming to you from
Sorry if that was really bad in your ear.
X103.7.
Sorry, I'm gonna just every time there's a bunch of Taylor Swift references thrown at me rapid fire, I'm gonna lose it.
I don't get Taylor Swift references, so that's good.
I just said T-Sway because I
Oh.
said the problem. And then I said
I just-
T-Swizzle, more like T-Fizzle because she's a dud.
I
Yeah,
legitimately thought
that's
that
all
was-
I need. I don't know how to
thought-
make that any clearer.
I thought T Sway was a hip hop artist that I did not know about yet. Like
No,
I
that's
was like-
K-Flay.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know who K-Flay is.
Oh,
Are they related to FK Twigs?
That's incidentally a smooth jazz singer that nobody knows about. No, I was going to argue or make up the point of compassion in that there's going to be a lot of people who are vulnerable who are going to need it, like in general, because being scared isn't easy. And being scared of very legitimate things that you can see that aren't going to impact other people are fucking terrifying. Like, let me tell you what, but like that part, but also like you can't educate people without some amount of compassion. And like that takes some amount of courage and it takes some amount of curiosity. And that does take like that was kind of why I was asking that thing earlier, the other thing earlier about like people who do vote Trump or whatever after the fact, because it's like there's gonna have to be a conversation. Like assuming there's a better ever, there's gonna have to be a conversation with how to actually reconcile with that. And like it's not unimportant to think of now to me to a certain degree.
And that's why I stress that I have sympathy for those voters right now, because I don't know how to have empathy yet.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And I'm not asking
No, I know,
for that
and that's why I'm saying
necessarily.
that's one of my blind spots and my things that I need to work on.
Like I don't know that I have it yet either, but I can pretend well enough and or like put myself close enough to that position gravimetrically to be like, I'm not going into that black hole, but I can at least see if some dude signed the checks and some other dude took the checks away and I lived in some place that didn't give me proper pedagogy, I'd totally be like, well, I like the guy that gave me the checks. And like I don't agree with that 1,000%. But I understand it or whatever. Like I can do the math. I can see their work on the paper. And so like I don't know where compassion in that comes from. But like I do, and compassion for me now means more the vulnerable people and the people who are already like fighting the proverbially fighting the good fight and are gonna like hit the wall soon because shit's gonna get realer, and like either they're gonna have a bunch of idiots flooding them with support, air quotes, or they're gonna have a bunch of people causing legitimate harm to them, and like they're gonna need compassion in those moments. And so like to add to our C word.
Yeah, do you have a C word, Charlie? I mean, we're gonna need Charlie.
No, I don't have anything off the top of my head.
We're gonna need you.
You could have stolen cock and cunt now. Now would have been the
You
perfect
could have
time
said
for that.
cunning,
Ooh.
chivalry,
Community.
chartreuse.
Ooh, that is actually probably super important is community.
Camaraderie.
Yeah, camaraderie.
No, so I mean, what I was gonna say in line with all that was just basically like you got to be prepared for the people that you're helping to not be like the perfect specimens of people who you want.
There's no perfect victim
and it's not about just
or
like
perfect survivor.
I'm not even talking about like people who like voted for Trump for reasons we can't understand or whatever. Like, just like you're gonna run into people who need help who are just saying shit that's just fucking wild.
Oh yeah.
And this is what I mean when I talk about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's like you're not gonna understand half of what.
Yeah.
It's not even just about what they're going through. It's just like they can't even fucking communicate what their issues are.
Communicate. There's a good C word.
Ah!
Oh, wait. So are you saying that being homeless is not only traumatizing, it's cognitively debilitating?
I guess I am, and I don't.
And that's not me diminishing their ability to make decisions for themselves.
So I can't. I don't mean to keep bringing it back.
But it's important. But so that's a big
but it just keeps happening.
That is as much a symptom as Trump is right now.
Yeah,
and like if we're gonna talk about it, homelessness has been a problem since pre-Great Depression, if not before. Like,
and people got to fucking reckon with this, because even in our fucking super duper progressive bubble, this is a known thing about where we live. There's a lot of fucking homelessness.
When I went to Tennessee like a bunch of years ago, people were like, "Oh shit, it's starting to look like Portland here," because there was a homeless person with a bike in their town. Like, so like.
No, we're known for that. And I mean,
me laughing isn't me laughing at the homeless population. It's laughing at the fact that like Portland thinks we're really cool and special, and 9 times out of 10, the things people know us for are
not those things. Well, and like it makes me think about when I still worked at the UPS store on the Winco and 82nd and Powell. Back when there was still a bottle drop there, it was, a lot of unhoused people, a lot of people like going through all sorts of stuff. So I had to deal with so many fucking clientele bitching at me about how they didn't want to be around those homeless people, how they made them uncomfortable, they made them scared, they didn't feel safe. And I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you, because in this situation, they are in so much more danger than you are.
Yeah.
Like, dollars to fucking donuts. You can be uncomfortable. You can see what capitalism does to people it discards.
But at the end of the day, it's like these people are people, and they're your fucking neighbors, and they're suffering. And it doesn't fucking matter it doesn't fucking matter what choices they made that led them to be in this position. They're in an untenable situation.
And this part doesn't even matter, but we are all so close to being in that position.
Exactly.
Even people who think that there's no way possible. What if you get a debilitating injury, you end up getting hooked on opioids, and then you can't get them anymore because they won't prescribe them to you anymore?
It feels like it gets said too often, but I don't think it gets said enough. Like...
Yeah, all of us are literally one medical disaster away. Pat's the closest, though.
I'm literally a medical disaster.
I think it goes...
I'm a slow motion medical disaster.
Listen, I think it's
definitely gets followed by security whenever he goes into a store.
Yeah.
Rochelle, Charlie. We're talking about likelihood of being displaced and unhoused due to traumatic events.
Oh.
Pat's the most likely.
Yeah.
And then I think it goes Ben, and I think it goes me, and I think it goes you.
Not gonna question that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna either. I
mean, look at these beards.
I would say equally.
Yours looks clean.
Like here's the thing I think is fucked up is the less I have to like go to a
You
job,
hate my beard.
the more I see how much jobs fuck people up.
Yeah.
And like I don't mean to pick on you, but you are the clearest example of that to me.
I have quit jobs in the fall 2 years in a row because I cannot fucking be at them any longer. Because I am going to negatively affect my coworkers and the people I'm supposed to be helping. And that's because my mental state is getting degraded so intensely that I can't let the rage inside of me stop from leaking out.
I wish I had that strength.
I wish I had the strength to let it be and not have to change jobs all the time and stress
same.
myself out all the fucking time. I hate interviewing for jobs. The 2 interviews that I've had recently were Zoom calls where the other people were not visible. So I am just talking to myself on my fucking phone.
Ugh.
They can't even fucking
show them faces for for an interview.
I feel like, okay.
So that's what, like, I'm not saying being houseless and having a job are similarly, like, painful cognitive affairs.
No, they're absolutely not.
But the less I have to be at work and the less I've had to struggle for me, because, like, I've never been, like, out on the streets homeless, but I've been, like, cool, does this friend have a couch and will they care if I shower when they're at work homeless? Which is, like, increments removed from it. Like, I had a job
there are
at the
levels
Yeah,
time.
to it.
there's
And
levels.
so, like I've kind of seen both ends of this, and it's like, no, both of those things fuck you up and make you crazy. Like, especially being disabled and working full time, the amount it's been like, cool, I don't have an 8-hour day. Nobody has an 8-hour work day. Everybody has a 10-hour work day when you feature in transportation shit.
And that's only if you have reasonable transportation.
I have like a 12-hour work day then, because it's like I need an hour on either end just to be like to adjust to the pain and to prepare for the pain. Right. And so it's like I'm aware of how both ends of this thing fuck with you. And like it's extra fucked up that the people kind of in the air quotes better position are constantly mad at the people that are clearly in the worst position because like they're lazy or whatever. And it's like, do you know how much work not having a house is?
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Like,
so
sorry.
I know I said earlier that I hate to keep bringing everything back to homeless people, but honestly, for the sake of this discussion, there's probably no better group of people to focus on because
They're the people who are the first on the chopping block right now.
they're the first on the fucking chopping block. And, you know, we say it's hacky, but like, yeah, you're more likely to be them than you aren't.
Yeah, all these people who voted for Trump because they'll think you'll be like him one day. So much more likely.
Well, like,
And they're so fucking hated by so many people in that demographic of voter.
Because it's easy to hate them, and because then you don't have to think about how likely it is you're going to become them.
I think that's a miss. To backtrack, I think that is a weird thing we get wrong about Trump. I don't think they will be him someday. They think if they were in his position, they would be like him. And I think that distinction has just been important enough to point out because it's like they don't think, oh, I will get to that point.
But a lot of these people think that voting this way will get them rich.
True, but I think a lot of the people that voted were, if I was him, I would do these things. Ergo, he must be doing it right because I can't question the things I do.
Yeah, the temporarily embarrassed millionaire or whatever thing is probably not something we should focus on so much anymore.
But
so much as just people very desperately trying to delineate themselves from a permanently embarrassed, houseless drug addict. And I mean, we've been seeing throughout the last however many years just such an exponential increase in homelessness in our area. And it seems like that's probably going to be a thing that's going to continue here and elsewhere. And how we talk about it and how we deal with it is going to have ramifications throughout the rest of the country. Because, yeah, you were saying, you know, being elsewhere in the country, that Portland is defined by there being homeless people. Yeah. But, like, you know, as a tour guide, I've had to interact with so many people who their first brush with visible homelessness is with me. And I cannot help but think that, like, that's not going to be your last.
Corey and I went to a concert.
It's going to fucking keep happening, bro.
I wanted to just roll with it. Like, immediately, I was like, so is that, like, part of the spiel now as you do the tour?
Yeah.
And I hated myself for having that thought.
Now, my main spiel, Rochelle, you're going to talk about
you and Corey.
No, you go ahead.
But I just want to say one of my favorite things that I have continuously told tourists throughout the years, and this stays relevant, is that, you know, if you could come up with like a scented candle to represent Portland, it's gonna be malted barley, it's gonna be marijuana smoke, tear gas, and burning American flags, and then you have those are the four smells, and maybe a little patchouli. Yeah. You throw in patchouli too, and that's the smell of Portland.
Those are the four seasons.
Maybe a little urine in there too, though. I think you're forgetting the urine. Just like
because you get forest fires, you get police brunch, you get.
You know, in real life we do smell a lot of things, but like if you had to like really distill it into a candle.
Yeah. No, Corey and I went to the Roseland Theater for a show, and as we were walking by, you know, there's the people definitely posted up out front of there, and I had like a few dollar bills, so I just like was handing them out because I was just like, because I normally don't have cash on me, and like the utter shock on their face that I gave them a fucking $1.
Yeah,
just a fucking $1.
So the fact that they are so. Like if you go to an event at the Roseland, you're gonna encounter people asking for money. The fact that that's so normal, and then the fact that they're also shocked that they actually get money, that's amazing. That's so wild.
And I was like, are they really shocked, or were they playing it up? Like, I don't know.
Who cares?
But it was just like, and it just made me so fucking mad. I'm just so fucking mad that the only reason we have this problem is to keep us in line.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it is so expensive to have all of these people out here like
Ain't it
this.
nice being more comfortable than them?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
but
that Carlin bit of the poor, the middle class exists to work for the rich, and the poor exist to scare the middle class. Like
yeah.
And it's like, a big club, and you ain't in it.
And one thing that you mentioned, which is a good way to help folks in Palestine, because like I think for a lot of people that was the hardest part about this election cycle, was just like either the complete lack of concern about the area, or like, yes, let's bomb the shit out of them.
Yeah.
You said eSIM cards, getting them eSIM cards so that they can communicate, and
so they can be really annoying and nonstop message me. But of all the people, you know, I hate getting messaged all the time. I really hate it. But of all the people who are allowed to do it, Palestinians.
Yeah,
they're
like,
allowed. They can
I'm not
it.
strong enough to do that right now. Like, I wish I had the emotional fortitude to have conversations with people who are getting bombed and starved out.
I wish I did too.
And you have more than me, though.
And I still have them.
Yeah, you still do it.
I think.
I was gonna donate to Kamala's re-election campaign.
No, I have one. I have one I have to respond to tonight, and I will respond to him. But otherwise, I like
It's so hard.
all they want, is money. And, you know, in our American context, that sounds bad. But, like, that's really, they fucking need, it's like $9 for a tomato.
Yeah, no,
So,
food
like,
is
they
insanely
need,
expensive.
They need our fucking money.
You guys heard of
But, like,
tariffs, right?
Yes. And so,
Just think about
costs-
fascist still tariffs.
costs Palestinians more to buy a tomato than it does for us to buy a Baconator. And I feel like that's really important
That's really,
to
really
understand.
fucked up.
But also,
Do they
like,
take EBT?
what was that?
Do they take EBT to, like, if I send them my...
Can I send my Oregon Trail card to Palestine?
Well, and I saw
Sorry, I hate myself.
there's this.
No, but like, we're all poor.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And of course, we're the ones who actually fucking give a fucking shit about them.
Yeah.
Because we know what it's like to not be able to fucking eat. And they've been saying that one of the worst things, apart from the fucking egregious levels of violence, is that they can't fucking eat. They're fucking starving. And that's just so fundamentally basic. That's so basic.
Have you ever
Nobody
seen a
else-
skinny baby? Have you ever seen a skinny baby?
Did nobody else pay attention to those fucking stories we had to read in school about, like, fucking the Holocaust or fucking what
Hey,
slaves had to endure
by
or
the
enslaved
way,
people
do you
or
wanna-
fucking...
Pat, do you want to know what I'm using to keep Harriet's cat food feeder from being tipped over? I have People's History of America and Surviving Auschwitz by Primo Levi sandwiched between it and the top of the shelf.
Just a reminder.
Yeah. And I was like, I felt like that was kind of appropriate.
People love to say that what you are doing right now is what you would have been doing during the Holocaust.
And I think they're probably right.
They're right to an extent, but I really feel like if Holocaust victims had the option of DMing people,
Oh, no.
it might have looked slightly different.
Well, no, we did get one very famous DM from one, and I
But it
thought
was a very long time. It was way after the conflict,
Yeah.
right? Well, no, and I was thinking about that too in those
Diary of
contexts
Anne
of like
Frank.
how fucking wild that basically Anne Frank
I went
makes
tonight.
GoFundMe's now.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Tonight
what
by
it
Elie
is.
Wiesel, but yeah, same thing.
I used to work at a bookstore, and I had a lady come in one day, and she's like, "I'm looking for Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank," and I was like, "Oh, there's a bunch of those." So I took her over to the section, and I showed her the book, and she's thumbing through it, and she's going, "Oh no, this is too inappropriate." And I said, yeah, so was everything Hitler did. What did you expect
Right.
from Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank? What did you think was going to happen? Did you think that there was going to be a happy ending?
there was one of
That
my
would have been worse.
one of my partners was telling me about talking to someone else about Palestine, and they were like, "Oh, I just don't discuss political things at work, or I'm not political, so I don't talk about those things at work." And like, they've known me long enough to know I was gonna like lose a gasket over that position just because I was like, "No, that's a political."
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
Deciding that you're not going to engage with atrocity is political. I also think that I don't know how much informing ourselves all day is helpful.
Yeah, no,
Right?
yeah, that's a great
Right?
point.
So like I don't like, and I think that for some of us, because we don't feel like we have the money to affect change, we think we can at least use our eyes.
Yeah, you can bog yourself down into thinking that just consuming information is like activism or whatever. I saw this happen in 2020. People would say shit to people on the ground. Like, oh yeah, no, I saw in streams that this was happening, so you're wrong because blah, blah, blah. And then other people who were on the ground would be like, no, I was on the ground. What are you fucking talking
I was
about?
there.
Like, you were consuming information as entertainment in a way, but like, no, I was fucking there and it wasn't fun. Like,
I was.
I don't know. I
had
really
fun.
liked getting tear gas in my eyes.
I had fun.
It felt really good for my eyes to burn so much.
No, the eye thing and the throat thing sucked, but like when my skin was burning, I was like, this is kind of cool. This is like a spa.
But then when your dick started twitching,
When my dick started twitching,
Well,
I was
no,
like,
you-
I might have been wrong about this.
You didn't get excited. You weren't like, "Ooh, I now have an OnlyFans." Like that was the height of OnlyFans.
No, I didn't think I had like a niche that I discovered of like, oh, girls will really like a guy whose small dick twitches.
Well, you don't
Like-
know girls or guys.
No, all the
Thighs.
girls who I told
Thighs.
about, all the girls who I told about my dick twitching were very concerned about my health, and that's not a huge turn on. It turns out.
Oh yeah, no.
So-
in my experience, your health. Like I say
I
that
can
for the
fix
third
him.
date. I do. I
I can
give that
fix
vibe.
him, and by that I mean I'm going to give him medicine.
but yeah, so curiosity, courage, compassion,
Community.
cunt,
And cunt.
community, and like, I think we all just need to figure out how to help people around us and extend that as much as we can.
Which might sound disappointing, but what the fuck else do you want from us?
Yeah.
Like that was the solution the whole time.
That-
Doctors
exactly.
hate this one hat.
Like, there's no fucking.
It's the seed oil.
There's and this is what I mean when I say get comfortable with being uncomfortable. There's no fucking Deus Ex Machina that's gonna come and sweep in. Like, I'm not gonna fucking look in the camera and tell you you have to assassinate the president, because even if you did that, we have another fucking dickhead lined up to be his replacement. It
and
doesn't
on top
fucking
of
matter.
that, it doesn't matter who's in the White House,
This-
because it is not the only arm of the U.S. government, and it's not the only way in which they control us or afflict trauma across the globe.
And like overall, all of my life, I've been so poor. The president has mostly just been a concept that's esoteric to me. You know what I mean? Like you may as well be asking me a sports score.
Yeah.
It's all misery and depression down here.
And I used to watch it like sports. Like,
Well,
I think that's one thing too, is like, stop looking at politics as fucking sports, because it's not. It's
Well, like,
people's lives.
That's the problem is I do see it that way
Well,
still.
no.
But it like that higher up shit is how I see
Yeah,
that. Where it's like,
but, like,
local
for-
shit, I was like, if Renee Gonzalez wins, I will throw bricks through things, and I'm lazy.
Well, and like, I think the reason I bring that up is because I think this was during the 2016 election. They talked about how one of the voting rights rules about having a valid address was keeping a lot of people on Indian reservations from being able to vote. And the person's like, yeah, but that's not really going to affect the outcome. So it's of like the presidential race. So it's not that big of a deal.
So let's just write
they're
off a
looking
group
at
of
as
people.
sports and thinking of them as expendable players. And so that's why I'm saying stop
Yeah.
looking
Yeah,
at politics
Yeah, we can
as
fucking
sports.
we can bench the indigenous people.
Yeah, that play
It's
wouldn't have
totally
scored a
cool.
touchdown anyway. Well, who
Yeah,
cares?
exactly.
Right.
They're not going
exactly.
to block that.
That was his third string running poop back.
If
I
I-
don't know. I don't know what the sports teams' names are and what they do.
I love how often this episode has just been me having like the wrong take, but the right way. I think.
It's okay, Pat. You're wrong all the time.
Yeah, I'm used to it by now.
But like, needless to say, it sucks that Trump is reelected. It's gonna be shitty, and it's gonna be up to us working collectively to make this better, because I don't know how much longer we're gonna be able to rely on a government that's constantly needing to campaign.
But like, and like we were joking about earlier, though, the answer is us already. Like that's always been the answer, but the answer is us.
Parties.
Especially Charlie.
Parties are not your friends.
Yeah.
Your friends are your friends.
Your bosses aren't your friends.
Your
True.
bosses
So
are not your
true.
friends.
Politicians are absolutely not your friends.
If
Stop relying on them.
I always think of the episodes of Star Trek where like their brains reset and they're on the ship and they have to figure out who does what or whatever. And I'm like,
yeah.
if that happened, there wouldn't be, like maybe there would be Republicans and Democrats again or whatever, but you wouldn't have that with your neighbors immediately. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you would just look around and be like, oh shit, are you hungry? Because I'm fucking hungry. Do you know what to do with a carrot? Because I have no fucking clue.
And then
really
they turn
horny
around
though.
and it's just sticking out of their butt. Like, what?
I was gonna do that.
Eh.
Massive carrot recall today, by the way.
Oh.
Organic whole carrots and baby carrots from a farm in California.
Those were the exact
no.
ones I
It's
was
starting
putting up
even
my butt.
before Trump's in office. Great.
E. coli, so I feel like you're
Yep.
fine if
Oh,
you put it
well,
up your butt.
we had
You
the onion-
Shouldn't eat it.
The onion recall from U.S. Foods, and that's McDonald's and I think Burger King recalled like dumped all of their onions because of a E. coli scare for the same reason.
Yeah.
And I think that was a Washington State farm that, or at least one, because it was from a Denver center that got onions from different
And now
places.
we're all expecting more of that because Captain Eat Bear is
Captain
gonna be
Shitbird.
our health guy.
Like,
Yeah. Okay, but we gotta wrap this up. Ben, it was amazing to have you on. Is there
Keep
anything you
coming
want to share with us?
I mean,
Are we going to Mike's?
I'm always yeah.
We should go to Mike. We should go to Mike.
let's go on Wednesday if
You
Jamie
gotta
doesn't hang out with us.
fucking
Let's find one.
peer pressure me. for that.
Okay.
But as far as
What
we're
are your Mondays like?
pretty open.
Okay.
As far as we're telling the audience, though,
Yeah. What do you want to plug?
I normally
what's
don't
your
plug
address? What's your phone number? What's your
Is there a way for people to donate to the place that you do your food stuff?
yes. So yeah, we feed the streets. Should I send Charlie the link?
Yes.
Yeah.
Please send
Yeah.
Charlie the link. Listen, the most
but-
grown-up person in the room is right over there.
Okay, so
Thank you.
yeah, so I make food for homeless people. A lot of other people do it too, and the only way that we can do that is if we can buy the food, because we exist under capitalism. So if you want to donate to that, I'm gonna send the links to Charlie, and he's gonna put them in the description of whatever this is.
Yeah.
And I also might have some GoFundMe's to
That'd be
send
dope.
you
Totally.
for some folks in Gaza who I've been talking to, who just want to not be there.
Yeah.
Who just
They also want to survive until they
just want
cannot
to not
be there.
die. I think that's really important right now too. So those are the things that I'm gonna plug. Is feed the streets in the Portland metro area, and just helping Palestinians not die.
Yeah.
I have
You got
no,
anything to plug right now?
no, just more of the show. We're gonna try to make an effort to make the show more regularly.
Yeah, we want to do this
'cause
more often.
You should come back more often if you want to, Ben. Like if this
I
is a
would
thing,
love to.
yeah. Because I
I
at
think-
some point I do have to get surgery where my throat will be cut open, and Rochelle, Charlie shouldn't have to put up with Rochelle alone. So,
Honestly,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not offended by that. It's just that I was there when my grandfather died. His throat was cut open. You think I'm fucking new to this? No.
sorry, I didn't even.
But I would also love if you didn't die.
Fair. It's
I'm
more.
pretty
It's more
neutral.
spine stuff. I was just saying that to say I don't have stuff beyond trying to do more of the show, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Things I would plug.
Working on writing some fiction for the show at some point to do some.
Oh
some
my
game
gosh,
episodes.
that sounds lovely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be doing Be Gay Do Crime in January up at the Underbar. We're gonna be talking about. I'm gonna be talking about Audre Lorde, so we need to research that because I need your help
I mean, we talked about Audre Lorde last time.
in the
I was
self-care
here.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be doing that. And then I'm gonna be doing 3 Mugs on December 7th out in Hillsboro.
Okay, Charlie, can you hit us
Or
with
Tigered?
a Jamaican dancehall air horn?
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah, 3 mugs. Let's go!
Dennis Cruz will be most likely closing it out.
Let's go.
We can talk about how ridiculous our last show was on mic. It was great.
It was pretty great. And then Charlie, you got anything to plug?
Mostly just GFY Studios, which is where we do this podcast, and we want to do more of these, but also I want to, if other people want to get their voices heard or
You gotta come through me.
get a message out or whatever, please contact GFY Studios or me, Charlie
Don't
Hickmott,
contact me.
because I want to help in whatever way that helps. I guess I know.
Can I see that?
I really love you, Charlie.
Oh, thank you.
I
And I really love
Charlie.
you too. Honestly.
I totally forgot. Dungeons and Flagons next month is going to be running an adventure I wrote.
Oh, nice.
It's going to be called How the Grinch Stole Christmas. The premise is is Whoville implies the existence of Whereville, Whatville, Whyville, and Howville. But of course it's me, so the Howvillians have been horrifically oppressed by the Whovillians, and
Yeah.
the Grinch is a leftist Robin Hood. So if you want to do
go.
that,
That actually sounds pretty
At
good.
some point in there, you gotta fucking, gotta shit on journalists.
I'll figure out a way. Don't worry.
You gotta.
Oh yeah, and if you want to buy some art, please message me. I have so much to sell. Some of it looks okay. Most of it's at passes.
Are you not on Instagram?
It's on Instagram. It's at Whore for Poor.
Whore for Poor.
Isn't that such a good name?
It's a good name.
My mom loves it.
She's
such a narcissist.
Okay, Rochelle,
according to other people's therapists.
According to other people's therapists.
Pitch. You've talked about starting an OnlyFans with Harriet Likes to Watch.
Yes.
You move Whore for Poor over to an OnlyFans where you just do pores naked. It doesn't have to be sexy. I encourage farting. Just a lot of belly scratching, a lot of
Make sure you somehow can tell that I stink. I clearly haven't showered in multiple days.
Like your hair is clumped together with paint from the last paint.
Oh, that sounds horrible. I don't want to do that to my hair. But thank you guys all so much. Thank you, GFY Studios. Thank you, Charlie.
Be nice to each other.
Yeah, be nice to each other. Don't talk to any bad guys unless they're extra hot.
And mysterious.
Yeah. Honestly, if you think you can fix them, don't.
Like, that's how I got all of my partners. They were like, I can fix them. And I'm like, I'll let you think that.
But we love you. Goodbye.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, come back.
Thank you. Bye, 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 bye.